Joe, first off, thanks for coming here today. I do appreciate the opportunity to talk to you about the radio you're based by and why with Cumulus. Ultimately, our goal is to help you grow your business and get you results from your advertising. That's the bottom line with whatever we do. And I think what this presentation will show you is why we think radio should be the foundation of whatever media plan that you get into. So that is the purpose of it, and we'll get through this quickly, and I want to show you some really interesting information as we move forward. Local businesses are searching for customers who want to do what? Improve their home, order a dozen donuts,
buy coffee.
Buy coffee. Lots and lots of coffee. So that is what obviously you're trying to do. And every customer out there is in the same type of a boat. They're trying to get people to do something, whatever it might be. And I think that is something we will try to help you do with this plan. When trying to reach customers, you have a lot of local advertising options to consider. Up to this point, and you've been in business for many, many years, you've used what to help promote your business?
Radio, cable, tiny bit of newspaper. Now we're being more aggressive with Facebook and social media.
So basically you've used radio, you use a little bit of newspaper, some cable, no direct mail.
No direct mail.
No billboards.
No.
No over-the-air television.
No.
And you've most recently, and you have your website, which you use. So now more some social media.
Yes.
Facebook and.
No Twitter yet, just Facebook.
Just
right
Facebook.
Now.
Okay. And I think ultimately your goal is to try to sell more coffee, and I'm thinking because of the building of your new store, you want to try to brand the new location. So it's kind of a new world for you because you never really had to promote as much now with the new location.
And we're trying to get almost a double bang for the buck in using the brand, hitting our website, which we have outside things that are following on Facebook, and then local, driving people to the store and brand recognition throughout the community.
And just so people that are listening to this know that you have a unique business because not only do you sell coffee to the general public as I can walk in off the street and buy a cup of coffee, but you also are a wholesaler.
Correct.
And you sell to
restaurants, offices,
all in the region,
small businesses everywhere.
And the triggering point to what has happened to you is your location is in the middle of a big time move where the bridge that makes your business accessible is now going to be knocked down.
Yeah, it's going to be torn down, and they're going to be working right in front of where our retail store is going to be. So access is going to be cut off from the bridge being down, but they're going to be working right in front. So people to try and get into the store, it's going to be almost impossible to get into. That's why we decided to move.
So you've actually are in the process of being proactive to build now the new location, which is going to be pretty close to where you're at now. Is it going to be everything that you did in the old store?
Everything. Well, we just did in the retail part. We're going to be over there. It's going to be bigger. We're going to be able to offer more products. Maybe have a little bit of sit down. So we're going to have more space. It's going to be more space and a better space once we get it all done.
Okay, so that's basically what you're trying to do. Now, as we talk about the advertising options, and we talked about, there's outdoor, broadcast TV, cable TV, newspaper, digital, direct mail, and radio. You have used some of these off and on throughout the time you've run O'Neill Coffee, and you would have to believe, some success in pretty much all of them.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Has there been any that you've used that you're not too fond of now as time has moved on?
I wouldn't. I wouldn't say not fond of. I mean, I think each one has filled its purpose in a time and place. It's just, I think all of these forms of media are evolving. So when we sit down every year, we're talking about different things and what are we looking at and who are we trying to hit and what are we trying to do and how to better tweak the advertising and the message and how we're going to get it to them. So,
and just the fact that even like in your business where 20 years ago, you didn't really have an online presence or the
Correct.
media. Now you have the ability to sell online.
Well, and I think you can look at cable TV and radio the same. I mean, with cable TV, you have Dish Network, DirecTV. You have all those things that took a bite out of the local cable. The local cables, quite honestly, have been bought 3 times. Their representatives and their advertising have not been as strong as they were when we used it 10 years ago. That's the main reason I don't use it. Same challenge, with radio, with satellite radio and some of the things. So, broadening out the message locally is a challenge sometimes.
And it's a forever changing world, and that's what the challenge that we have in dealing with clients is the exact same thing. How do we present to you a program that's going to best suit your needs? What do you think makes for a successful advertising campaign? What do you think makes advertising successful? I'm going to give you 8 reasons what we have found throughout all the successful campaigns across the country would have been the top 8 reasons. But what do you think? What would be a couple reasons why advertising would be successful?
Consistency, clear message. That would be the 2 that come to me.
So being consistent, having a clear, concise message, trying to target the right audience. Let me show you that the data that we have combined that have shown all the most successful advertising buys throughout the country. We're going to go, one step at a time. These are the common characteristics of the best performing local advertising, and this is stuff that you can use. It doesn't just necessarily mean radio first. You're going to see what I mean here. There's 8 different characteristics. Number 1, reach your potential customers. And if you look at all the medias out there, between outdoor to newspaper to radio, all 7 of them, and I said 8, there's 7. All 7 basically allow you to reach potential customers. I mean, I think that's pretty fair, every single one of them. Where radio separates ourselves is we are the number 1 mass media reaching 93% of the population. In the Youngstown market, radio reaches about 91% of the population, which is head and shoulders above everybody else. And I'll tell you more about that.
Now, is that local radio or does that include satellite?
That is local radio.
Okay.
And that's where, and you'll see more details on that, but that's a pretty strong number. You start thinking about the competition out there. On a daily, weekly basis, radio reaches, in Youngstown, 91% of the population. Number 2, influence close to the point of purchase. Only radio reaches customers listening on their way to the store. Physical store locations are still where 92% of all transactions take place. So outdoor does pretty well, digital, direct mail. You're trying to influence somebody close to the point of purchase, as it's always an important part. Radio is still the one medium out there that we can do that on their way to the store. And that's a strong selling point. Number 3, provide local consumer interactions. This is, as you well know, this is one of the things that we've done for many years with our relationship is that radio provides long-lasting and personal connections. The high school sports you've been a part of for many years is a one way that we tie your name into the local community. Broadcast TV can do a little bit of that. Cable TV on a smaller basis can do that. Direct mail, there's nothing personal there. Digital, nothing personal. Newspaper, nothing personal. Outdoor, just a billboard. So, we are able to provide consumers with local interactions, and that's a strong selling point in this day and age. And on that line, the emotional connections with our on-air personalities, with our sports announcers, with our afternoon talk show, those are also very important. These other mediums cannot do that. A newspaper, they create emotional connections on some basis. Broadcast TV does a little bit with some of their news people. But in general, radio is still the one that can drive more emotional engagement. And I think you'll see a little bit why that's very important. Number 5, build trust and credibility. 3 out of 4 adults agree that radio is credible and trust. In this day and age, it's something that's very important. 8 out of 10 radio listeners graduate from a fan to a friend. So it's, as you've seen as years go on, the more you do or talk to that audience, they become your friend. And I think that's something that separates us from some of the other media. Broadcast TV can do a little bit of it. Digital really can't build trust or credibility. Some of these outlets can, but radio still does it.
I think between the two, I mean, we're trying to build relationships. I mean, we've been in business over almost 70 years now. We're trying to build relationships for repeat. And I think radio, with what we've done with high school sports, there's a relationship there. With the work you've done and Ryan does and Mark does, it creates almost like a family atmosphere that is trusted, that you guys have been doing it a long time. We've been around a long time, and it's a good bridge that works for us.
And I think that's some of the benefits of using radio to get that message out. Number 6 is provide, and this is the newest, really the newest thing that, as time has moved on, provide an unskippable engagement.
Okay.
And what this means is radio is not vulnerable to ad blocking technology like digital is now.
Okay.
And people listen to radio, and believe it or not, 2/3 of radio listening do not involve switching stations. Obviously, cable television and broadcast television that is probably the biggest issue now. You have a DVR?
Yeah.
So how much of the program do you watch is recorded?
I love recording because I skip over everything.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's one of the biggest challenges right now with the TV industry, is the fact that how do you deal with that? And up to this point, radio does not have that problem. We do not people can't block our ads, and 2/3 of radio listening occurs. People don't switch stations, and I've always said over the years that, especially when it comes to TV, people watch programs, not channels. So you think about the programs you might want to watch, your favorite programs. You're not watching one channel all day or all night. But radio, in most cases, people are fond and they listen to one station. And that's kind of a big difference between the two medias. As important as anything for any advertiser is be cost effective. And I'll show you more details on this, but radio has the lowest cost per 1,000 impression rate than most local media. What that means is your message can reach more people for less money. And I think ultimately that's one of the keys to success when it comes to running advertising, is being cost effective. And especially with the other media out there. And I'll show you some of the details. I have some numbers here, but digital and outdoor comes close. They do a pretty good job, but these other medium, newspaper especially, with the high cost of...
Oh, it's expensive. Very
expensive, and you know that. And last but not least, deliver affordable ads quickly. What this means is that radio is very flexible. We have the ability to, in a moment's notice, in a lot of cases within 24 hours, and in some cases within the hour, if there's an emergency or something changes in your industry, that we can change your message. Outdoor, broadcast TV, cable, direct mail, these all take long times to really set everything up. Newspaper, a little bit quicker. Some of the digital can be done quickly, but radio still very little cost, almost no cost for our production. Some others charge some, but we don't. And you can get it done within 24 hours. What does this all say? It says that all of these customers, as I'm looking at my notes here, all 16 of these, Joe, or I should say all 7 of these, radio is the only one, if you see, reaches every single one of these. So think about that. Potential customers, influence close, provide local consumer interactions, create emotional connections, build trust and credibility, can't skip our ads, cost effective, and we deliver them quickly and affordably. So that's 8 characteristics of best performing local advertising. Radio hits them all. And just a couple more details on some of the stuff we talked about. We talked about the percentage of adults per week, 91% here in Youngstown. These are some of the other numbers. Outdoor, 46%. Direct mail, 39%. Newspaper down to 32%. Digital, 82%.
Well, that's another challenge for newspapers. When you look, everybody gets their news online.
Right.
When you think, and people pass away now and people don't know because people don't get the newspaper.
That's the big challenge. There's no question about that. Influence close to point of purchase. Back to radio, 49%. Digital's right there with us. Direct mail's pretty close, but the other ones. So you want to get your message out there when maybe someone's shopping or going out. You get to tell your story at the closest point of purchase. Provide the local consumer interactions. We've talked about that. Events, live broadcasts, local activations. And when you open your store, I'm guessing we'll be down there to do something for you. That we hope we will be. So that's what we can do. The billboards can't do it. The direct mail can't do that. This is what we can do, and that separates us from everybody else. The emotional connections. Consumers tune into radio to feel good moments and connections. Favorite song. Like to work with radio. Part of a habit. Keep me company. And that is what separates us as well. These other mediums can't create emotional connections, which is important. Trust and credibility. Go from a fan to a friend. And most credible medium out there right now, radio, just above print. Television, outdoor, direct mail goes down. But radio is still the most credible. The unskippable engagement. Perception is people switch stations a lot and not hear my ad. Reality, 2/3 of radio listening do not involve switching stations. And 90% of radio listening occasions among loyal station listeners do not switch stations. So people listen to WPIC or listening all day. Or Sports Radio 96.7 or Y103 or whatever. And I think that's important, especially for your message. The cost-effective part we talked about, radio, $13.03 cost per 1,000. So to reach 1,000 people, it costs you $13. You want to do a direct mail piece? Have you ever gotten prices for those?
No.
It's amazing. $57 per 1,000. It's expensive. And you can see the cost. Newspapers are twice as much as radio. Outdoors is pretty cheap. But the outdoors has its significant negatives because unless you're buying billboards everywhere in town, you can't reach as many people as we can. Deliver affordable ads quickly. This is some of the stuff. Speed to the market. Radio's still fastest. We can get your get your ad out there immediately. That's one of the strong points. Once again, only radio meets all the requirements for delivering the best results for local advertisers. And that's pretty powerful stuff here. And I think that's something that there's a lot of misconceptions out there, a lot of misinformation. Times have changed. There's definitely more competition, even in our industry. But bottom line is local radio still does the job. And the one great point, Joe, that I was told, this is one of our old bosses told me this story, that think about the strength of radio, where radio was never a medium that was really went after the in-home audience. Our audience was cars to work, lunchtime, at work, at your desk, cutting the grass, on the way home from work. We were never at the at-home listening ship. So what has changed? Think about it. What has changed with, when you go home from work now, people have TV on, laptop on, they have their phone out, but you can't do any of that stuff in your car. When you're at work doing your job, you may check out a few things once in a while, but you're doing your job, so the radio's still on. Nothing has really changed where we reach people compared to the other mediums out there. That's one of the strengths of what we have. Return on investment, these are some of the numbers. We deliver the highest return on investment. That's another, that's one of those numbers that all business owners love to hear. $10 for every dollar spent. And that's even some of the key categories. So this is the basic presentation that I wanted to show you. I want to show you one of the little bit of presentation, but why we believe radio should be your base buy. You have a question or anything at this point, Joe? I mean, I'm sure you're thinking about all this. Does this make sense?
It does. I mean, it's, some of it's reminders of some of the things why we do it, but the other thing is you can look at all those mediums as well and just see how they've all changed. Just as much as radio has, and with newspaper, with local TV, which you bring up the medium, and I think of my daughter. My daughter doesn't have a TV in college. She watches anything she wants to watch online.
Right.
They don't even cable. You know, or it's Netflix or it's something
or
like
newspaper.
that. Yeah, neither. They don't pay for either. So.
And even in our industry, and I've noted this many times now, where we have more and more listeners to our stations via our apps. I mean, I know a lot of kids today that will listen to us through their app. They don't own a radio either. There'll be a radio in their car,
yeah,
but they don't own a personal radio. So, and that is one of the strengths of what we have done in our industry is that we're able to at least be a part of this. And I think you're a part of the phone. That is something that's
you got to be
huge, right? That's part of it. Now, one of the things that we have done or doing differently and becoming more part of what we're doing here is, in addition to radio, you talked about some of the social media you're doing. We are adding some of these products to our regular part of our daily routine. And, you know, what we want you to do to maximize your marketing is, one, make radio your base buy, which you use radio now. Add efficient digital vehicles to maximize your marketing. And then coordinate your messaging across radio and digital to further increase your return on investment. So what we're saying here is, what I'm saying here, Joe, is the fact that if you use radio and then either use some email marketing or some more social media marketing or maybe some platform marketing, there's definitely a way to reach more people. And this is something we talked about before. Advertising across multiple platforms increases return on investment. Right now, if you advertised on just one platform, which 29% of the people do, that is the base buy. But 71% of all campaigns are more than one platform. And as you can see, the more platforms that you use, the higher the return on investment goes up. And obviously, you have a limited budget. So you got to use what's going to work best for you. But ultimately, you know, the more platforms you use, the better you're going to be. So it could be radio, social media, and some email marketing. It could be three of them, but we'll talk about that.
That's the three we're doing right now.
Three you're doing right now. This is the one that everybody always asks me, the optimal ad mix. What ad mix should a business do today? And you're looking to reach persons 18 plus. This is through all the campaigns, and this is analysis based on campaigns representing $100 billion in ad spending through 2010 to 2015. Digital comprises all ads, including video, display, and paid search ads. The optimal one is 78% traditional, 22% digital to reach these people. And to reach younger people, it's a little, obviously less. So this is something that you may want to look at and say, okay, if we want to reach younger people to reach our coffee shop, we want to maybe spend a little bit of money on the digital side of it. And that's something that is changing. It's been interesting because there's such a perception out there that people got to spend all their money on digital or a lot more money on digital. But these numbers tell me that those people are making mistakes at this point. A consistent, unified creative delivers strongest results.
You got one right.
Consistent. You're consistent. You're right about that. But you've also you had a creative. You have a unified message, correct? We've always pretty much told the same.
I think so. Yeah.
And
as we've been able to change things, we've been more creative, and we got a lot. We have more to work with too now with the new store
and I think that's going to be part of the. Yeah. You've been around for many years, so and that's really not a surprise here. You know, the businesses that don't have unified messages always drive me crazy. I mean, why not have a unified message? So the ones that do that have much better, stronger results. We have Cumulus Digital Solutions. We have some products and services that can maximize the value of your radio campaign. We have C-Mail, which is a tailored email campaign. We have C-Target, which is a customized audience ad campaign. And C-Services, digital, mobile, social enhancements. I'll show you briefly about each one, and then we can talk about the details down the road. C-Mail, tailored email campaigns. If you heard in the car, talking about O'Neill Coffee, new location, and then target somebody's inbox. So they're hearing your ad, and then all of a sudden they get an ad from you saying, first cup of coffee is on us, try a new store out. And then, in addition, you also acquire new leads from all these people that come in, and then you're able to then go back and retarget them with your own in-house targeting. So that would be one idea. Tailor email campaigns. When you're grand opening, maybe do a campaign for 2 weeks to blast out to a zip code area within 10 miles of the store. And there's a lot of ways we can do that, and I think it'd be a great. I look at the email inbox as that's the one way you're going to reach my wife and probably your wife. They may not listen to the radio, but there's a good chance you're going to look at their email every day. And if they see email from O'Neill Coffee, first cup of coffee's on us, it's going to get somebody's attention.
Sure.
See target. Customize audience ad campaigns. Be heard in the office with our ads. Your ads with O'Neill Coffee, new location. And then you are running ads on favorite websites. And this is what we can do. Like, as an example, this little sample here on the weatherchannel.com. We put together campaigns where your ad will actually run on the most popular websites. And then, but bottom line is they hear your ad on the radio, they open up their website, they see your ad there, and then you engage them. Works. And then one other way is see target through station digital platforms. We haven't done this much. We haven't talked about this very much, but same thing. You go on the WPIC website, or, which is, I like this idea, is you put your ad on our app during the game.
I was going to say the app's more.
Oh yeah, it's more, right. But think about that. People are listening to a ball game, and they open up the app, and an O'Neill Coffee ad pops up, and it says, "First cup's on us." You engage them there. So those are some of the things that we can do. Digital mobile enhancements, radio ads, and then this is and I'll go into more detail in another meeting, but we can, and you don't really need this as much because this is basically, we would do your website for you. You already have all that. But we have the ability to, one thing we can do is if it's not already, is your website optimized? Okay, so you already have done that. So this is probably to the point where, now do you use the search engine optimization?
Yes.
So you're doing a little bit of that as well. So you're already doing some of that, so that's probably something we can skip on. The social media management enhancement. This is something that I would love to talk to you about because I think this is something you've already talked about a little bit of it. Radio ads, and then social management is simplified. We give you one portal that manages all your social media sites. Also, we have an online reputation management system that it alerts you to any online commentary. If someone would complain, hard to believe somebody would complain, but if somebody would complain, you get notified, and then it gives you the ability to immediately respond or react. That's some of the mistakes that companies make because they don't react quick enough, and it really improves the interaction between you and your customers. So, especially with the new store, you do a little bit of Facebook. I'm sure you maybe get on the Twitter here a little bit when the store opens up. And does your website have the ability for people to send comments?
Yes.
Okay, so you have that ability now. Yeah. And you probably don't get many, or do you?
More inquiries and comments.
Okay. So this is basically, to conclude everything, Joe, is radio should be your base buy and why. We deliver all 8 characteristics of the best performing local advertising. We deliver the most excellent high performance return on investment. And with our digital, mobile, and social products, we think we can provide more leads and more increased engagement. So bottom line is this. I think what we can talk about as we move forward, when do you plan for your store to be open?
Right after Labor Day.
So Labor Day. So probably I would recommend, if you think it's something you want to do, and I don't know the direction you're going to go yet, but we get together sometime maybe early August and put together a plan. You're going to need to probably do some additional radio ads, and then we can look at some of this stuff that might, best fit your needs.
Yeah, sounds good.
Any other questions, Joe, at this point?
No. Sounds like some good stuff.